tonight's show is brought to you by Hamilton Holloway and Taylor Rochelle, and she's pulling up. She's sharing her screen here shortly.
Do you want me to share my screen or for Hamilton to share his screen,
Whoever
Billy?
has it handy, please. Well, that was not necessary. Now you can see my allergy eyes. I was hiding. So we are missing Felicia, who is doing her own club's installation, and Dawn, who is out at her club's installation. So Taylor and Hamilton and Chris are going to handle it, and I'm trying not to talk so that I can save my voice. All righty, it's coming right up. Maybe.
If mine doesn't load, Hamilton, do you have yours ready? I'm not sure why it's not presenting.
Ken Fleeson is trying to get into the meeting. Chris, can you send him the new link? He's on WhatsApp. Oh, nope, I thought we got it. There we go. All righty, we are Zone 33. We have been partnering with Zone 33, 34, and you can follow us at Rotary Zones 33, 34 together. Hey, Hamilton, can you forward? Okay, I think you want to do one more because I'm just going to introduce the team and then you're going to carry on from there. Well, maybe not. There we go. This is our team starting from the left. I'm Billy Black. I'm in District 7670, but I have the pleasure of working with West Virginia and that big, long, narrow District 7570. Dawn is not here. She's at her installation, but she works with the 2 South Carolina districts in 7710. Chris Justice has taken over my old district, so he's in my district of 7670, Charlotte district of 7680, and I believe that's yours, 7690. Taylor is taking the coast of North Carolina, 7720 and 7730. Felicia's got Pennsylvania, so if you're in Pennsylvania, you belong to her. And then Hamilton has the districts that go to feed into CPETs, so 7600, 7610, 7620, and 7630. Now, any of us can help you, and we'd be glad to help you, but if you start with that person, it will be a little more efficient. So I'm going to turn it over. Dawn is Taylor Alphin. I want to call her Rochelle. Her mama is part of our team as well. But Taylor and Hamilton are take it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Billy. And Hamilton, if you could advance the slide for me. Awesome. So public image is the reason that we're all here today. And question I'm sure some of us have been asked before is, is public image really important? And well, we hope that your answer is yes whenever being asked that question. Without public image, we really can't function as an organization. And we want everyone to truly understand that this is a vital part of our organization, and it's just as vital as membership and foundation, and it actually can really enhance our membership and foundation efforts. So without public image, we really don't have the tools and resources to be able to share Rotary and to share a Rotary story and the different projects that we have. And so if you could advance the slide, please. Awesome. Just another emphasis. It's very important. One more. Awesome. And so one thing that the zone level has done to really help districts and clubs to have a successful public image plan is creating a public image citation. And this is truly a roadmap for your Rotary year. And so what the public image citation is we'll go through kind of some of the different elements. Today, Zone 34 actually helped to create this PowerPoint and this presentation, and they have a really awesome site with a ton of information. We'll be going through those resources tonight to make it that much easier. I know it can sound a little daunting when we start talking about a citation and having additional steps and goals in place, but we're promised that it's going to really help you and make you have a really successful Rotary year. So Hamilton, if you could advance, perfect. And so something that you've probably heard us speak of before, if you've been on our master classes and or have been with us in person at some of our trainings, is the importance of really building a public image team and not going at it alone. It can get very overwhelming and you could feel like you're going in a lot of different directions at once. And so some of the steps this evening will be made possible through the creation of a team. And so here are just some examples of different roles, different things that you can tap on individuals within your district and or within some of the different clubs to be able to help put everything together and pull everything together. So really taking the mindset of team versus individuals. And you know, for larger clubs and or even larger districts, you might have more than one person even doing one of these roles. And so the main point here, again, we'll drill it in tonight, is that don't have one person doing it all. It's a large job, and often it will be more successful if you have more than one person kind of here doing it. And so here are just a few ideas of what could fall into, say, the job description for each of these roles. And so the more tasks that you set in your plan, we recommend having more people to be able to support those goals and to really make sure that there is a process that tells your committee members, you know, when and what to share with each other to really ensure that it gets shared with the public and gets shared with the club. And so everyone working together to increase awareness ultimately will make things a lot easier. Again, these outlines are some of the more specific tasks that you can assign. Don't let it overwhelm you. Again, you can have multiple people assigned to each, but you need to have a point individual to be able to give direction there. So one person might be sharing in real time, another person might be working on the newsletter efforts behind the scene. Another individual could be planning out content and what those photos and videos being shared on your social media look like. And so again, this is meant to be used as a guide, and really we also recommend, you know, cross-training individuals. More than one individual could also be working on more than one of these tasks. So the more people who have a hand in this, the more people to really have involved and to be cross-trained here. Next slide, please. The great thing is that everyone can have a hand in public image. Every person in your club, in your district, more often than not, has well, you can't see it because it's a green screen, but has a cell phone. They have a smartphone. They have a camera on them at all times. And honestly, you don't need fancy equipment. You don't need a platform of all the sorts. You just need members with their phones. And so each member represents Rotary. Each member has their own Rotary story to share. Each person has a different perspective and kind of view, if you will, of your club meetings, even for those virtual clubs. I'm a member of a virtual club out of District 7730, and we take screenshots of our meetings, and we've even been able to use some of our virtual content as a part of submitting for grants and such. And so think outside of the box whenever it comes to this, and it doesn't just have to come from one individual having to be at every event, taking those photos and taking those videos.
So, hey, everybody. As was introduced earlier, I'm Hamilton Holloway from District 7600 and working the zone, assisting with District 7600, 7610, 20, and 30. And so thank you for being here. I know that we have, I'm not going to gloat, but I think I have the highest number of people from my districts here. So I think that's fantastic. But anyway, as Taylor was talking about, this is all about setting yourself up for success. And an easy thing to do, some of the best practices that you can do with your club members is do monthly updates. This is your internal audience, your club members, to tell you about the great things that your club is doing. Educate your members on how they can get involved. So not just on how to use DACDB, but for instance, do an in-service before a meeting or at the start of a meeting on how to use Facebook and tag and share what's going on, how to share events on Facebook, for instance, or how to tag on Instagram so that they know, and actually have them do it right there. That's an easy way to get a lot of highlights and a lot of resources right there, and show them that to move the algorithms on social sites, you have to have some quick engagement, and you have to have a certain number of engagement within a certain amount of time of a posting. So it really helps for them to be engaged. But there's a lot of stories within your clubs. It's easy to tell some of those stories. Highlight new members, for instance, as they come into the club with a few little things, a picture of them with a little background you can do in Canva very easily, and share that. It not only highlights that you're an active club in your community, but it reminds your members that you're an active club, and it makes the newer members feel special when you do something like that. It helps the members who have been in the club for a long time remember that they're supposed to also welcome the new members. So take advantage of that and show the impact that your club is doing. It's an easy way, particularly on social media, to get those photos of action. We did a recent training a couple of months ago on how to capture photos of action. The people of action in Rotary. We're people of action. We're not people standing there with a check, all shaking hands. So take advantage of that. Get those shots. Everybody, as Taylor mentioned a minute ago, has a cell phone in their hand. And so anybody's a photographer in the club. Everybody, when all those arrows in that other picture was showing, you've got to take advantage of that in your clubs to make sure that they use that. So the roadmap to the public image citation. The citation really is designed to be a step-by-step process to help you through the year. It's not meant to be something that's critical or hard to do, or that you're going to have to, just really bust yourself to do. It's really set up to make your year easy as you go, because each month of the citation that you're engaged in helps you prepare for the next month and the rest of the year. So it sets you up for success each step. So the first step really is getting your district and your club teams together, figuring those teams out and who's going to be there, who's going to do what. The first thing that you do want to do is a club audit. That's one of the first steps in the citation is the club audit. And this is where you want to go through and just do things like make sure you have access. It seems simple, but make sure you have access to, for instance, your website. Who has the passwords? Do you have a centralized email, for instance, for your club that multiple people have access to as a recovery email for your websites and for your social accounts, for instance? It's the worst thing that can happen is for one person to hold the keys to the post office box, or one person to hold the keys to the website, and then they leave or something horrible happens and everybody's going, how do we do this, or how do we get in there? Look for things such as, is your club info updated on the site? Is it on your website, for instance, still saying you're meeting at the country club when you're now meeting at the Little John's down the street? Are your logos up to date on the website? It's an easy thing just to go through each of those steps and go, yeah, things are right. It's all good, and can move forward from here. If not, it's an easy way to make those lists of what we need to take care of to prepare for the next steps. And the zombie social accounts, that's a big thing right now. There's a lot of times where people are very enthusiastic and want to set up access on every social network that's out there, and want to take advantage of that, which is great if they have the energy and you have the bandwidth to do that. But if one person does it for 1 year and then no one takes it up the next year, it makes it look like a club that's not active, right? If you've got multiple Facebook pages, or you signed up for Instagram or Twitter, but you're only using Facebook, for instance. If you have some of these zombie accounts, if you will, ones that aren't being used, go ahead and shut them down. It's easy to look on, do a quick search of your club on Google, for instance, and it'll come up. And most of the times, if you have multiple accounts, and I don't know, you might want to hold on to the MySpace. I think it's going to have a comeback here pretty soon. But aside from that, I would say close any of those zombie accounts and just concentrate on what you can do. One of the things that we'll reinforce throughout the year, not just tonight, but throughout the year, is only do what you know you can sustain throughout the year, and that will be easy to hand off for the next year. You want to do a few things right rather than a lot of things not well, or start out really gung-ho and hit a lot of stuff, but then not be able to keep up with it throughout the year. So focus on what really works for you and your club and go from there.
Right, awesome. So something that our public image teams with Zone 33 and 34 are doing are really combining efforts. I think that there is a statistic that Sean Patty shared where I believe it was 6 or 7 out of 10 individuals have social media. Don't have to have all of them, but that's a huge amount of the population if we really think about it. And so we are looking to not only share, the good that our clubs are doing, but also our districts, our zones. And so something that we have put together is making sure that we have a presence on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, you name it. And so we really encourage you all to continue to share that with your districts and with your clubs, that this also exists out there. We're trying to really expand our reach, even on LinkedIn. Different platforms really share different purposes, if you will. They don't have to, but they can. For example, more individuals are probably sharing about their personal lives on Facebook and on Instagram. LinkedIn is more of a professional networking site. But I can even say where I get a lot of my RI content and knowledge from is actually LinkedIn. They're sharing a lot of cool resources and stories on a global level. And so really want to make sure that we're engaging our audiences wherever they do have a platform. So getting into some of the fun things with the brand audit, we really want to make sure that our Rotary visual identity is cohesive. And this was really something that RI President Jennifer Jones really pushed, and I know that it's going to continue to be an emphasis here moving forward. And so throughout our time today, we're going to cover a lot of great resources, specifically with the Rotary Brand Center, that will help you to be able to produce these logos like you see here on the screen, that are within brand guidelines. So anything from color to font to size to really just how we're able to represent Rotary. Really want to make sure that we're cohesive across the board. And now Hamilton's going to take us through a fun little exercise, speaking of the Rotary brand.
All right. So how well do you know how to use the Rotary brand identity? We're going to have a few slides here, and just in the chat, put in the number that you think is right. There's 4 different answers you can choose on each page, and put those in. We'll see what people say and go from here. So the first, what do you think of this image? Is it great? Is it okay? But maybe they shouldn't be connected. Maybe they should be spread out a little bit. Are they all wrong? Does it violate branding guidelines? What do you think? Ooh, a lot of D's there. A lot of D's. Nobody went with A, really? Well, you're right. You're right. It does violate. Now, one of the things is the interlocking design here is a little abrasive and goes against our Rotary guidelines. So absolutely. All right. How about this one? It's a little different. This is like you've gone to someone in the club who has a promotions business, and they said, hey, we can put the Rotary emblem on a bag. Got some more D's coming in. D's. I don't know. It looks okay. D's. B. Okay, we got a B. Looks okay, but wrong color. Like that, Kevin. Anybody else? Yeah, I think this one, this C, okay, is incorrect, right? You could do it right. I think a B or a C might work there. It's the wrong color to use. It looks like a gray or something like that, rather than the gold or a blue. And so it's close, but it's not quite right. It's a good try at that. How about this one? I like this one. This one took a lot of effort on someone's part to make this. What do people think of this one? Get a D, get a B. D. All right. Yes. C. All right. Incorrect logo. Yes, I would say a couple of those. Incorrect logo. It's the old logo, as well as it's covered up here. So it's try to go with a cool design and get maybe a mountain feel or something like that. But it took a little too much liberty in hiding the logo and then throwing in what might be an image from one of the Rotary years, and then throwing in another wheel down here. So they want to get in a lot of wheels, but maybe too many and in the wrong order. So yes, this was one that doesn't fit as well. And then what about this one? This is a 100 celebration. Why can't you use this one? This one looks like something that would work. What do people think of this one? E, B, C, D. Yeah. Yeah, this is one that, or at least a style that we probably run into a whole lot. And probably a lot of people have seen something like this, where someone has taken the rotary wheel and made it into something else, or made it a part of something, made it part of a state, or put a bird on top of it or something like that. And it's really creative, but it doesn't fit the Rotary brand and the Rotary image that we use. So although we certainly 1924 to 2024 is 100 years in Rotary is fantastic, but it doesn't meet the Rotary graphic needs there. So these are the things. And, you know, as we said at the beginning, we're not the Rotary police. We don't want you to be the Rotary police, but we want you to be good stewards of the brand, of the Rotary brand. And that's how we have conversations with clubs, with districts about the use of the Rotary logos and how to do it. It's really more of a conversation to help understand this. We're really being stewards of this and trying to have a consistent brand overall. Now, we don't want to beat people up over doing something wrong because somebody put a lot of work into this and feels really proud of it, I bet. But it doesn't meet the Rotary brand thing. And so we have a conversation of what we can do a little differently there.
Hamilton, this is Billy. One of the things I want everybody on the call to know is that if you start with your public image committee with the service or whatever, then this won't happen because they'll be there to say, well, you can't do that. Instead of waiting to the end and saying to the public image chair, well, we already have 50 flyers made up or 60 pins. So get your public image team in at the beginning.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And one more, we don't have to vote on this one, but this is one more where it was a great effort. And actually at the top of the screen, you see the Rotary lockup. That's an easy thing that can be done in the brand center. And that's how a lockup is done is great. If they just went with that, it would be fantastic. But they went a little overboard on this one. So there's the challenge there. They got enthusiastic and went a little too far, but it was a good effort, at least at the stop. If you cut it off at the top, you're in great shape. So we have that, and now we go to the audit, and this is this is where we talk about how do we look at this, and do you want to take are you taking this one or is it?
Yep, I got it. So now that we've completed the audit, we're going to move forward to the next piece. So we've evaluated what social media accounts we have. We know that we can use the Rotary Brand Center as a resource for not just the logo, but also content. They have a ton of content on there that everyone can use. And so if you move forward, the next piece that we're going to talk about that is a part of our citation is our content calendar. So I know that this slide can look a little overwhelming at first, but a content calendar is really going to help you, your club and your district to stay on track. And so you can think about it as planning forward. It doesn't have to be anything that's set in stone, but you also don't want anyone to be worried about what's happening next and who is owning what. The best practice that we advise is to really plan in batches. Some people do it on a monthly or weekly or even quarterly basis. It's really up to you all and what works best for your group. Our club, for example, is putting together an outline for the year and looking at, okay, what speakers do we have coming up? What do we want to happen when? What are we celebrating? What are some of the larger kind of Rotary items? For example, up here, we have the Rotary New Year starts in July. And so celebrating that, maybe an idea that you could use is highlighting your new club officers, maybe having some bios put together. Some other things is whenever you have a really large service project going on, one, posting about it not only on the day of, but also build some momentum coming on the front end of it. And, if you're looking to drive ticket sales, it could be a really great way to fundraise. And so there are a ton of different ideas out there. And so use whatever you have going on. You don't have to start from a blank slate. And again, please use the Rotary Brand Center for ideas there. Also, we have a Rotary Vimeo channel, which is video content. And then also the Zone 3334 social channels. You are more than welcome to share any of the content that is on there, as well as other RI social accounts as well. And then there are a handful of web tools out there that are free resources to be able to use for content planning. One, you could use a good old Google Sheet. That's something that our club is doing, is we're just using a Google Sheet. You could also use Trello. We'll show you an example of what that looks like. That is more of an organizational tool. Can also use it for content scheduling. You can use Canva, really cool feature in Canva to schedule posts. And then I know that of a handful of others as well. But basically what we really want to do is to have a visual of it. And so Hamilton, if you go to the next slide, here is an example of what you could utilize for a monthly basis in Google Sheets and or Excel. Now, you don't have to have something going off every single day of the week. That could be a lot, but maybe picking and choosing when you want things to happen. Maybe you're on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule, or maybe you're a Tuesday, Thursday schedule. Whatever works best for you. My personal recommendation would just be to keep it consistent and kind of keep the same guidelines month over month so that you're not having to reinvent the wheel and you're not having to spend a lot of extra time thinking about and coming up with different content to post out. And so some examples of that are color coded up top are different pieces of content. So it doesn't always have to be social media. It could be an email, it could be your newsletter, kind of where a blog post is. It could be whenever a webinar is happening and you want to promote that. It could be a fundraiser or a project that you have going on that you want to highlight. Or another example is even having a member spotlight each month or each week. You can have a different member spotlight. You go forward for me,
One of the
Hamilton.
things I just wanted to add in there is take advantage of the other committees that are in your club and in your district. So for instance, March is Women's History Month. So in District 7600, we worked with the Empowering Girls Committee to come up with posts that we did every day for that. But it was the Empowering Girls Committee who actually did the research, get the images, got the content to go with each of those. So it makes it easier, it takes the effort off you. Don't always say, okay, yes, that's a great idea, I'll do it all. If it's Foundation Month, work ahead of time with the Foundation Committee to see what posts that they want to have out there for that month and see what they can come up with to support you. So take advantage of that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that, Hamilton. And also too, maybe you have the membership chair, have a certain day of the week and they're responsible for sharing kind of that information with you, or your DEI chair, whatever committee you have as well. Even inside of your club or inside of your district. That's a great ad, Hamilton. Here's what Trello looks like. Again, this is just another example of a platform in which you can use to schedule posts. You don't have to use, by any means, please do not use all of these. That's a lot to keep up with. Pick one that works best for you and kind of run with it. Can you advance a slide, please? And here we also have a Google Calendar, or you could also use Canva. So Canva also has a content planning tool, which is really great. Canva, if you have not used it yet, I am a big advocate. Hamilton and I put this presentation together in Canva, but it's a really easy tool. You can share files very easily. A lot of the content that we have is free. You can have a paid subscription. You don't have to by any means to be able to use the tool. And it is very, very simple and user friendly. And what you create will look very professional. I'm passing it off to Hamilton as we make our next step forward in our our journey towards completing the PI certification or citation, sorry.
Yes, and so we've talked about calendar, and I'll also add that with Facebook, if you use Facebook a lot, with the Meta Suite, it has a built-in calendar as well that you can schedule out a couple of weeks in advance within Facebook, and you can, because Facebook and Instagram are connected, if you also have an Instagram account, you can do both of those together easily and set those up ahead of time if you don't want to use one of these other tools. So there's several different tools that you can use. Just find whatever one works the best for you and your team and your club. So take advantage of that. A couple of things to think about are the types of images that you use. I'll just hit very lightly on images that, there are like a PNG file image is very different from a PDF file. PNG is easy to use online. It can have a transparent background to it, for instance, whereas a PDF is really designed for print work, things like that. So look at those. And a little side note, if you have if you use iPhone, for instance, sometimes the photos are set on your phone to save in HEIC, which is for save space. It's designed to save space, but it doesn't transfer to other products. So that one can cause a little problem. You can go into your iPhone in settings and change that to PDF or PNG in your phone, and so you don't have to worry about that and transferring another. I've only run into it once or twice on my iPhone, having an issue transferring a photo to someone else who uses another platform. And there are a few online things that you can use to do those translations for you with those photos. But most of the time, if you use something like a Dropbox or something like that, it's easy to transfer those photos and share amongst each other with those. So one really cool thing that Being Combined Zone 33 and 34 have now is a dynamic calendar. And if you go to Elevate Rotary, and I am going to attempt to go to Elevate Rotary. Look at that. And it comes right up. Can you all see that still? Okay. And Elevate Rotary has information on here on a lot of great stuff. But one of the things is if you scroll down, you'll see the citations that are coming up for July, public image audit, and August, the plan. You can see some of those things here, but a little bit further down, dates to remember and calendar. Nope, wait. I went too far. I'm going back up. Come with me. Oh, right there. Important dates to remember. It seems simple for a calendar. View the entire calendar. You can go in here. You can join a single event, or you can go down to the bottom and subscribe to the entire calendar. And if you click on this, it shows your, you can do it as a Google Calendar, you can do it as an iCalendar, Outlook, export it as just an ICS file and put it into an Excel if you want to. But it's so great because it dynamically loads into your calendar, and then each month is set up, and the programs that you want to be involved in go on there automatically. So take advantage of that, the elevaterotary.org. Take advantage of that. And we're back.
Awesome. So as we've mentioned several times, none of this is new information, but we really do encourage you to learn from others. So we just showed you elevaterotary.org. That is going to be biggest resource for us to utilize moving forward, not just for the PI citation, but it also has links to the Rotary Brand Center. It has links to the calendar. Learn from others and use the material that is already out there. You do not have to create everything from scratch. And so One of the things is that you'll hear from us is R&D, rip off, and duplicate. So one of the ways you can do that is by following these hashtags on any of the social media accounts. And I'm going to put them in the chat right now, are Rotary, hashtag Rotary shares, and hashtag Rotary zones 3334. So you can click on any of those, search them on any of the social media platforms, and you can find all of our content. While you're there, make sure to give us a like and or a follow, and or subscribe to any of the channels, and then also visit the elevaterotary.org for more resources.
And
And
anything
then
you buy on our links, we get a percentage of the, no, wait, that's completely different. Sorry, that's on TikTok.
if you could go forward for me, Hamilton. Alrighty, so new and improved Rotary Brand Center. This is going to become your best friend in this role. As we mentioned earlier, this is going to be where you can get your approved logos, and they'll actually give you several different file types. So Hamilton just mentioned that earlier. A PNG file is going to look very different from a PDF file. On the Rotary Brand Center, you can find templates where you just plug in your club name, plug in your district name, and it will push out ready to use banners, posters, flyers. It also has pre-written messaging and communications around a variety of different topics. And there you can also find great images and videos that showcase people of action, our efforts with polio, and public service messages that can be adapted by your club and for your club and even for your district for social media and events. Again, most importantly, I want to stress the simplicity and the ease of use for the logo generator to make sure that your club is using the Rotary brand correctly. And here is an example of how it goes. So here on the screen, what you will see is exactly how the website is set up. On the left-hand side, you'll be able to select the color. So it only gives you the brand guideline approved color choices. So there's really no way to mess it up here. You'll get the color recommendations, the alignment of how the logo is to be set up, and you'll even be able to kind of write in exactly in the way that it is put here in the template. So club name or district or zone number, and there you have your approved logo.
And one of the things that's great, we've talked about some of those different file uses, different for different things. On the site, it tells you where there's this little I will tell you a lot of what you want to, like what type of file you may want to download based on how you're going to use it. So you don't have to remember things. You just have to read a little bit to go, this is the file I want, or this is the file I want. And it makes it very simple. You can download all of them if you want. Let's see, we have a question on that. Using only one color, black, and couldn't do it. Is that not compliant? It typically is not, I don't think, with just a black. But there are ones that have single colors. You can do a white, and you can do a, I know you can do white, and then you can do the multicolor. But I'm not sure about black. That doesn't, I haven't seen that. Okay. You may just want to do it for, as she said, it's for a business card. Most of the time you can use the two colors, the gold and blue, or you can use just the one color blue on there if you have to, would work. There you go. Ashley says you should be able to do all black. And Ashley knows. So, making sure you're creating a team of passionate and skilled individuals is probably the hardest part of this. Is finding people and wrangling them to help you, or finding passionate people who want to be involved with this. But once you've found the right people, the success is really sweet. You'll run really like a well-oiled machine, because you have people who are engaged and want to be a part of it. We know that we're all volunteers. That's what Rotary is about, and so there's always challenges with that. But succession planning and making something sustainable is key to ensuring success in the next Rotary year. So try to make it easier for the next person than it was for you. One thing that you can do throughout the year is cross-train each member of your team, so that if something does happen, there's somebody who may really enjoy the social part or creating stuff on Canva, but if they also understand the back end of the website, or not have to do it all the time, but just understand how that works, or the photography side of it, or the newsletter side, then you're building some bench strength and people who can take over different roles in the future and know that either they can do it or they know who they can find to do that. So this helps for backup. It also fosters a learning environment that may spark new leaders within your club that you didn't even know were there. So find your passions and create new opportunities for people. Don't have the same person do the same job year after year, because as we all know, you'll burn them out. We've all been in that state before, where we've had done something for many years and no one else wants to step in, and you're like, okay, we're just going to let this die, or I'm going to keep holding it and run it into the ground. So find that way to make it sustainable. Oftentimes we hear, really over and over again, that I don't even know what all the accounts we have, or so-and-so created this thing years ago and nobody has access to it. So a website that no one wants to edit or can't edit anymore. But that shouldn't happen. As you transition each year and you do this audit when you start the year, that really sets you up. You make sure that you have your permissions and everything is ready to go. You need to take place, and changes that you need to occur to stay relevant. And it's easy to trust, but verify as you move forward. So we've learned from each other, and we've wound through this. It really is set up to help you step by step throughout the year with your clubs and with your districts to do this. So now it's really time to take action and have some fun with this. We've gotten to the place where we want to check our toolkit and find the resources that will help us in our PR efforts and PI efforts throughout the year. We're still working on getting a lot of updates for 23 and 24. As each of us, particularly in PI roles, are looking for those new people who are coming in for the new year, and looking in DACDB to find people. But keep checking back for updates so that we can move forward. Also, as we've said before, take advantage of the Brand Center and the Learning Center. I will say that the Learning Center, if you haven't gone in there recently, they add new things all the time, and they're bite-sized snippets of information that you can watch and take in and learn something new each time. I know I do. Each time I go, I'll learn something new in there. And the great thing is they're keeping up with new technologies. I think there was a new one someone was just talking about the other day on AI that's in the Learning Center now. So take advantage of that. We do love Canva, and there are many new AI features, for instance, in Canva that you can use even, which is crazy, but it really is helpful. I will say, like anything else with new technology, you have to take it sometimes with a grain of salt. Recently, I used ChatGPT to come up with a trivia game for a Rotary meeting, and it was great. It came up with some great questions and answers, but some of them are wrong. So just trust but verify on that too. But take advantage of that. And then now that we've taken action, we're at citation point.
Awesome. Yeah, so now that we've gone through these steps, so we've completed our audit, gone through and created our content calendar, keeping that up to date. I know it's something like Hamilton mentioned earlier, whenever you get a new social media platform, it can be really exciting and you can have a lot of people engaged, but it is something that we have to keep up with. So the content calendar by any means is not set in stone, but it's meant to be something that you come back to and you update. And sometimes things just have to be shifted around, and we end up moving one project from one date to the other date, or making it a priority earlier in the year or later in the year, whatever works best for you all, but make sure that you're coming back to that after you've done the initial step. And then coming up with your overall public image plan. And so here, again, really excited that Zone 34 created this and is welcoming us into kind of their world, if you will, virtually. So all of the resources, again, that we've mentioned today are available on elevaterotary.org, and you will find here each step. So that content calendar, the public image plan information, public audit information as well. They have set it up to where you can do things month by month. It's really up to you and what works best for you, but we do recommend starting in that order of public image audit, the public image plan, content calendar, kind of flowing in that order. And then, you know, how does your public image plan really tie into the Rotary Action Plan? So again, on elevaterotary.org, you have access to, and they'll include links to the overall Rotary Action Plan. So consider how you can use the tools that we've discussed this evening to really strengthen Rotary's public image in your community, help you attract members, volunteers, partners, donors. You know, think big picture when it comes to these things. It can feel like very small, more minute details, but always keep in mind that perspective of that larger view of how we want to share Rotary. So for example, use it to tell compelling stories about your club, about your district, your community, and celebrate along the way. You want to make sure that you're highlighting your members, highlight your success and what you're doing through the good of Rotary. So if you haven't already, you can pull out your phone. If you have not written down elevaterotary.org, this QR code will take you directly there. And so again, all this information will be listed, and want to make sure that you walk away from this meeting sharing this site and this information with your public image chairs, also your club secretaries, club presidents as well. And then last but not least, we are here to be a resource. You can certainly reach out to any one of us, but we do have our designated districts to be your dedicated resource too. And so if you hover your camera, open up your camera and hover it over this QR code, it'll give you access to this exact slide so that you have all of our contact information available to you at any given time. And that is all that we have today. I know Ashley just put in the chat that she has drafted a club press release template to announce new president and send it to all of her president-elect, secretaries, and club public image folks to use. And she is happy to share that with anyone. That's also a great resource. Thank you for offering that, Ashley. Does anyone have any questions related to our presentation and or not? We're happy to take our remaining few minutes to discuss anything that's relevant and topical for you all.
And I will say that, you know, when we talk about Elevate Rotary and working zones 33, 34, as many of you know, membership works across Zone 33, 34 as a team. Foundation works across as a team. And we are now fully incorporating PI across 33, 34 as a team, so that across everything that we're doing in zones 33 and 34, we're on the same page and we're sharing the same information and resources. So sorry, go ahead, Jane.
Regarding a Canva account, you can have teams on Canva. If you have a paid subscription, does it cost more to have a team on Canva?
Someone else jump in on this if you know more than I do, but I believe that you do have to have a paid account to have a team. However, you can share files with individuals, and you don't have to have the paid subscription to be able to share files and have people work on the same, I want to say document, but have them work on the same file at the same time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, the paid subscription typically has, you can have up to 5 people on there, and you can change those. So for instance, if you have a team that wants to work and you change it, as of July 1, somebody's rolling off, you can take them off the team and add someone else on. So if you bring someone on, it's not a permanent member of the team, if you will. So you can change that. But as Taylor said, it's very easy to also share a file among people with different accounts. So if someone has a free account and you have a paid account, you can share that file and they can work on it from there, things like that.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any other questions? All right, seeing none. Taylor, Hamilton, awesome job